Do you have one of these? If so, you need one of these. We're building a planer cart today on New Craft Workshop. Let's get this build started. First things first, let's get all this lumber cut down to size. Okay, so we're here at the miter saw cutting everything down to length. We need 4 pieces for our legs. Those are 32 inches long each. Then we need 6 of the shorter cross pieces for our 2 side assemblies. Those are 17 inches long each. And then we have 6 cross pieces for our front and back. Those are 21 inches long each. All right, let's get these pocket holes drilled. There are 4 in each board, and there are 12 boards. I'm not going to bore you with all those pocket holes, so let's speed this up. Here you go. Okay, so we just got everything cut down to length and all of our pocket holes drilled in. We're going to start the assembly process by taking each of our legs and putting a mark at 12 inches. This 12 inches is going to be where the bottom of this particular board is going to go. The top and the bottom boards on these side pieces are going to be flush at the top and the bottom of each leg. We are going to be using glue and pocket screws. I am using Titebond 2. I do unfortunately get a little humidity out here in my shop since I am in a garage shop. So I'm going to go ahead and play it safe. Use 2. I'm out of silver screws, so you're going to see me driving some blue 2.5-inch pocket screws in. No big deal. Just out of the other ones. They're not here yet. They're on order. So let's get this thing put together. Okay, so we just wrapped up our second side panel. We are now going to start working on the cross pieces for our front and our back. The bottom piece we are going to put in this direction, because if we were to lay it this way, we would only be able to get 3 lag screws into our casters without adding a block. I would prefer to just mount this on the bottom this way, and I know that the casters I ordered are going to fit if we do it this way. The board in the middle, we're going to lay this way, and the board on top, we are going to lay this way. So once again, glue, pocket screws. We'll do the same thing with the other side, flip it over, put on the back, and then this frame will be built. So let's get to it. All right, our frame is finished. Time to cut our 2 pieces, one for our top, one for our middle shelf. Both of those are going to get cut 24 inches by 24 inches. The middle shelf, we will have to notch out the 4 corners to wrap around the 2x4 legs. I have laid my 4x8 by 3/4 inch thick sheet of plywood on a piece of rigid foam insulation to act as a sacrificial barrier underneath here to protect my workbench. So let's just get started by taking some measurements. I'm going to rip this down to 24 inches this way using my track saw. My shop, as you saw in my previous video, I have a contractor's grade saw. It's definitely not big enough to break down a sheet of 4x8 plywood, especially on my own. So we'll be using the track saw for this. So All right, so here are our two pieces cut to 24 inches by 24 inches. One is going to get glued and screwed to the top. The second one, we're going to notch out the corners first, install it in the middle as a shelf. Once that's done, we're going to start the drawer. So let's get after it. So after deliberating for a whopping 5 seconds, I decided I'm simply going to attach this top by pre-drilling, countersinking, and using some screws. My planer is going to be permanently attached to this cart. We're not going to be swapping tools. This is not a flip cart. I think this is going to be more than adequate. Now, I am a little out of square on my frame. We all know the joys of buying lumber from the big box stores. My top is perfectly square. I have checked it corner to corner. I'm spot on. I'm about 1/8 of an inch off here, so we're simply going to install our screws on this side first. We're going to use a clamp to pull this over, square it up before we countersink and install our screws on this side. So let's get after it. All right, that's done. Time to take this board. We're simply going to mark out our notches in the corner, take our jigsaw, cut those 4 pieces out, and then we'll get it installed. Let's get to it. All right, so our shelf for the middle is cut. We've notched out our 4 corners at the bandsaw, and now it's time to put this together. This is a tight fit to get it through here, but it will fit. And once we get it in, we can get this put into place. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to pre-drill, countersink, and put some screws on all 4 sides. What I'm doing right here is I'm breaking down some more plywood, cutting all the pieces that are going to make up the cavity that will house the drawer at the bottom of this unit, pre-drilling, countersinking, pocket holes, everything that needs it, as well as cutting down all of the plywood pieces that we will need for the drawer and the drawer face as well. Okay, we've got all of our plywood cut to length and width. It's time to get it inserted into the frame. I'm going to put a little wood glue here, and I'm going to temporarily tack it in place with a few brad nails. I'm going to follow up with 4 screws along the top and the bottom. From the inside, we want to bite into this frame here. Remember, this plywood is going to be supporting our entire weight of our drawer and everything we put in it. So we definitely want to use screws. So let's get this assembly process started. All right, we're ready to put our last piece of plywood in. This is the one where we put pocket holes on the bottom, countersunk 4 holes at the top. The pocket holes are going to attach to our back piece of plywood. Countersink is going to go into this bottom 2x4 part of our frame. All of our pieces are cut for our drawer. 4 sides, 1 bottom. We're going to put this together just as we've done everything else. Glue and screws. I'm using a 3/4 inch bottom, and I'm putting this together with screws because I'm not quite sure what's going in this drawer yet, and it's more than likely going to be heavy. I want this thing to last. Also, make sure your extensions that you purchase are full extension and heavy duty. If not, the thing is going to sag. You're going to be in there replacing it in a few months. Do it right the first time and you won't have to do it again. Let's get this assembly going. We're almost finished. Let's get these slides mounted on the side so we can get this drawer inserted, mount the face of the drawer on, flip this thing on its back, get our casters put on. Then we're going to move it back down to the ground and we're going to attach our planer to the top, and this thing is finished. In these times where we're speeding up the really repetitive, kind of boring parts of screwing things together, assembly times, drilling pocket holes, etc., do me a favor and let me know down in the comments if you guys would prefer to hear music in the background. Would you prefer to hear me do some voiceovers, or would you prefer to just hear my tools while we speed this thing up? Cart's finished. Let's get our planer mounted so we don't have to carry that thing around the shop anymore. Cart is done, planer is mounted. Couple quick things. First off, I will leave a link down in the description area of these casters. My first impression, they are sturdy, quiet, smooth. I like that all four of them come with a locking feature and all four spin. So when locked down, this thing is going to be sturdy. When they're unlocked, very maneuverable. I can move it pretty much wherever I'd like with ease. Also, if you have not subscribed already, I would greatly appreciate it if you just go ahead down below, click subscribe, give us a thumbs up for this video today. As always, please leave comments down below. Your feedback, your comments, positive and negative, are greatly appreciated. Thanks for your time today, and as always, we'll see you on YouTube.